Yo, welcome back. Welcome back.
Yo, yo.
We appreciate y'all rocking with us like always, man. So today or tonight's episode five, episode five. We about to get high. Episode five. We gonna be talking about family matters. Family matters is gonna be a continuation of our previous one, episode four. If you haven't seen that, definitely go check that out. Every video kind of leads into the next one. It's a continuation for this season at the moment. So, but tonight, we're gonna be talking about family matters. I'm gonna stop babbling and spark this joint. Go ahead, take it over, Sterling.
Alright, so the whole concept is, you know, we have a lot of things that happen within our families, and we ourselves are individuals, and family can breed a lot of familiarity, a lot of entitlement, a lot of just unhealthy things, a lot of codependency, but family can also breed a lot of peace, a lot of, you know, just comfort, a lot of love. Family is great for that. But the point of this is, it's like family versus thyself. At what point is it okay? In last episode, like we said, we talked about boundaries. So it's at what point is it okay to set boundaries with your family and really say, this is how I feel, this is what I want to do, this is who I want to be, or you know what I'm saying, and really say, this is the level of respect that we have to have in between each other. I think that a lot of times we allow those familiar things with people, especially in between siblings or in between parents or cousins. We allow the fact that we've been around each other every day, or that I saw you in this season or place in your life to dictate how we communicate with each other. We tend to, we'll say things or be a type of way with our family in ways that we weren't with other people, outside of our family. And it's really about finding out where that comes from. Like, where does that breed from? That sense of competition, or that sense of whatever that may be in front of our family. But we know when we step out of public, in public, there's a different aura about us than when we step in our home. And it's really about setting up those clear boundaries so that you can be the same you, wherever you are. It's really about allowing that line of communication to stay open within families, to respect and identify when, okay, we're getting a little bit too familiar with each other, even in relationships.
Yeah.
Even in marriages, that's still family, So we're still talking about all of it, and it's about how we set our boundaries,
Yeah, no, I definitely feel what you're saying. But just kind of setting boundaries and being familiar with the people around you, being too familiar with the people around you. And it's kind of one thing. I understand it. I do kind of disagree with kind of either being like, I shouldn't say disagree, because I do agree that based on certain traits of how your household acted, that either allows you to be one way in the household and one way out the household. But then on top of that, I think that sometimes, in some cases, it allows you to be the same person in the household or outside of the household. And one thing
that also could be good or bad.
Exactly. And this is kind of something that I was leading into. It's funny because this actually happened today. Well, I say it was a continuation of something that had happened last night. So, with it getting closer to summertime, springtime, it's getting a little stuffier at nighttime. So my son actually asked me to turn on his ceiling fan while he sleep. So the ceiling fan is on, but I have to manually turn the light off. Right? So G-moms think that's that he's turning on the fan in the morning time, right? But she didn't know that I turned the fan on by the switch. You know, I turn the fan on manually, cut the light off, and then leave the switch on, right? So then she comes in the middle of the night and turns the switch off, right? So she's like, oh, you know, my son is turning the fan on. You know, now mind you, you know, I explained everything to her, everything, and she's like, oh, dang, I owe the little one an apology, right? And, you know, she called him in, and she goes, I'm sorry, I owe you an apology. But that's it. She goes, I owe you an apology, it wasn't you, it was your dad. But that was it. Didn't apologize. So I had told G-Mom, I was like, yo, you didn't apologize. She's like, yes, I did. No, you didn't. You didn't apologize. You announced and made awareness to the fact that you knew you had to apologize, but you never apologized. And she was like, yes, I did, because I said that I owed you an apology. I'm like, Grandma, me telling you I owe you $5 is completely different than me giving you the $5 I owe you. I said, so basically what you just did to him was say, I know I owe you an apology, but I'm not going to give you an apology. So then what happens is he goes into the world thinking that saying I owe you an apology is equivalent to an apology, which is not. So if he goes out into the world and goes, I owe you an apology, and you waiting for the apology, but he never give you the apology. And then he's thinking that I owe you an apology equates to I apologize. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't. But that goes to just, you know, family matters and just the way that boundary was set. That boundary was set like, I'm too prideful to say that I apologize. So I'm going to just say, I owe you an apology. And you should know that I took my pride away, but you never took your pride away. You still set up a boundary of a closed wall.
Based off of familiarity. Of
exactly.
Like, this is who you are.
Because you my great grandson. Me telling you that I owe you an apology should be good enough, but it's not good enough. That's like literally going to the finish line, not crossing the finish line, and the tape is at your belly, and you like, that's good enough.
Yeah, I could have won. You know what I'm saying? It's
not good enough. Like, you know, and you know, she kind of got upset at me with that, but it was just like, I understand why, because it's like I'm challenging your frame of thought. What you thought was correct your entire life, which turns out to be incorrect. But once again, because of your familiar, you know, you just being familiar with me, like, oh, you younger than me, I shouldn't have to take that from you. It's really nothing you can teach me, because you're younger than me and you family. So I really shouldn't even have to really take what you say with a grain of, you know, I should take what you say with a grain of salt. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that with family, because we are family, we get too familiar, and we end up purposely crossing boundaries. And then at that point in time, it actually tears down the boundaries from that person, and that person becomes insecure. And then they go into the world like this. And then once the world hits them, because the world also, you know, a lot of people in the world been dealing with the same thing. It's the same, you know, reaction. It's just literally sandpaper rubbing against sandpaper.
Yeah. And that's good, because you identified the boundary, but also the repercussion of this familiarity of what that could cause, you know, to another person in their life, and possibly not know how to maintain or handle, you know, not saying that's the case for him, but the severity of that could be a person going to the degree of not knowing how to maintain or handle relationships, you know, because their way of communication may be lucid, but it was acceptable, within their household,
Mm-hmm.
but yet not acceptable in society, and they
Facts.
don't even know the difference. And that's what we talked about, where I was saying there's a lot of stuff like in our household that we think the world works like that,
Mm-hmm.
and we find out like later, oh wow, this was just my house, and it's cool that my house works like this,
Mm-hmm.
but the world works like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's very important that we teach each other the universal laws rather than just our personal, um, our personal, I don't want to say perspectives, but it's particularities. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Our personal, our peculiarness. It's okay to be peculiar and be particular, or to be different, or to be set apart and have your way about doing that. But the thing about it is understanding that everyone doesn't have to have your way of particularity in the way
Mm-hmm.
that they go about things,
Mm-hmm.
and gathering the respect for someone else's way is um, is the most is really the way that I see life should be.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, because with that, it allows you. I think that knowing that you have your own like you have your own way, certain things that you do your own way, and certain things that people do their own way. I think that actually knowing that, allows you to have more of a respect boundary,
Mm-hmm.
to the point where it's like, okay, well, you do it your way. That's cool. That's cool. I do it my way. But shit, well, let's try to come together. Let's try to see a way that we can put both of our ways together. See if that might enhance the result that we're getting, And then if not, it's like, all right, well, you can, if it don't work, then you can continue doing it your way. I can continue doing it my way, and then maybe we might be able to come together later on at a point in time. But I think that what happens is that with that pain that we develop, that we get to a point with our family to where we'll be like, oh, your way not working and my way not work. Your way not working for me and my way not working for you. So fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, because we so familiar, we feel like we could disrespect each other and everything gonna be all Gucci and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's like, I feel that with us being too familiar, that it gets to a point where we disrespect each other because we disagree with each other. And I feel like we shouldn't disrespect each other just because we disagree with each other. We should still respect each other so we can at least finish the conversation and come to a common ground. Even if we don't come to a common agreement, just come to a common ground and be like, okay, I respect that. I may not do it like that, but I respect it. Like, I truly respect it to the point where it's like, it's no judgment. I'm not upset at you because you didn't try it my way, or I'm not upset at you're not upset at me because I didn't try it your way, which is I think it's still something that I'm getting better at, because I was at a point in time where that familiarity, or just how how my family worked with the lack of communication,
Mm-hmm.
which was, I'm communicating halfway and that should be good enough. Like, it was so funny that happened, because when it happened, I'm like, so that's the reason why I ain't really been able to communicate my, to a certain point in my life, because it was like, it was acceptable. I can halfway tell you some shit,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what I'm saying, you okay with it, or I halfway tell you some shit and you take it completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a clear communication because we were so familiar with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and a lot of the respect went out the window.
That's an instance where whole different lighter, but I don't know where the other lighter went. but um, I'm really big on family, and I I had an instance with a particular sister, and we had our another family member mediate. You know, we like had a common conversation with this one person, you know, and we said, listen, you know, this is where I'm at with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they put us on the phone and they sat on the phone with us and they refereed.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of the refereeing, we still did not see eye to eye.
Okay.
Like there was still no resolve
Mm-hmm.
to a degree.
Yeah.
The resolve was I love you. All right, I love you. That was the end resolve.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that it has to be consistent in that manner, because me and my sister have grown tremendously in our communication, but we had to have the common ground of this is the boundary. And you know, like I told you in the previous video, we said that I said that I was a boundary crosser.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's my sister, you know what I'm saying? So she's one too. So we tend to the whole, you know what I'm saying, we know like how to step precisely with each other. You know, we could do a real good dance. You know what I'm saying? Like wow, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, crossing all types of boundaries. You know what I'm saying? And we like, you know, at the end of it, you be like, dang,
Yeah.
dang, for real.
Yeah.
You know, but but those moments like bring us to our solace of like, you know, I understand you, you understand me, and we love each other even though we don't always agree.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that was a good boundary to set, like the boundary of I love you no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that so many people don't know. Unconditional love. Love always tends to come with conditions.
Yeah.
Like, you do this, I do this, this goes like this because we can do this way and that way. But if you never do anything I say, will I still be there to love you?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the thing, that foundation that a lot of people don't build their relationships off of. They kind of build it on a conditional, resource based, contingency program.
What can you do for me? What can I do for you? Type shit.
And it's really supposed to be like your very presence is like welcome or positive, or it's really a word that I'm looking for, but I can't really put my finger on it. But it's about a person's presence being progressive with yours.
Yeah.
It's about the progression of what happens in the presence. What changed now? You know what I'm saying? Like what grew here? What was watered? You know what I'm saying? And that's what it's really about, and making sure that you stay around people that are willing to go through your growing process and support your growth process, even if it doesn't benefit them.
That's that. I dig that.
You know.
I dig that because it's so funny. Like, so my ex girl, right? Um, broke up, and she was like, I want to be friends. I still want to be friends with you.
Mm-hmm.
And this would literally be the first time, willingly, where I would have to make the choice of either let this woman go or continue to be friends with him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's women who we've went separate ways
Mm-hmm.
for years, and then we just so happen to come back, and then we end up being cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't like a cool split. Like we still, we just don't, not right now. We just gonna be friends. You know what I'm saying? It's never been like that. And I had thought to myself, like, Fly, do you really want to not be in this person's life forever just because you can't be with this person? Or do you still want to be in this person's life and watch this person grow, even though you know you're not about to be with this person and you really love this person, it's the person that you want to marry? But you got a lot of turmoil and shit you got to deal with. Like I said, yeah. It didn't go well. We ended up still not being friends because of a choice. That was her choice. But it doesn't mean that I still don't hope that person is progressing. But I also had to learn the boundary of not hitting her up. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not what she wanted, even though it was what I wanted. What's so crazy is sometimes you even think like so I did something this year. I sent her a birthday present, but it was something that was created by my hands, and I held on to it for a long time, and I just felt like it was that time. But it's like I still think like to this day, like especially with us having these conversations, like I think like that I crossed a boundary. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
did I? Like, and if I did, I hope it didn't affect too much. You know what I'm saying? And if I didn't, cool. But it's all like, even with that same intent, like I was thinking about it before I sent it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like now I'm thinking about this shit, and it's funny that you said that you were your natural boundary crossing. Remember, I had told you I was too.
Yeah.
Because right now, also what I was saying that in my household we halfway say shit and expect you to get it. Right.
That's what.
So
that's a trait.
Right. So
that's a trait of
we would. So she had a problem with me having girlfriends. Right, but she still had a couple guy friends, and I'm like, well, that's a whole hypocritical thing because you still want your guy friends, but then you're super insecure about my homegirls, my girlfriends. Like, so I disengaged myself from my homegirls because I did not keep that boundary. I allowed that boundary to go away because I was trying to make somebody else feel secure about some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but then what was so crazy is that when we would like get into an argument, I remember one argument we had got into it with, and she's like, Jovi, just stop saying something she was like, just stop talking before you say something that you're gonna regret. But that's because, nigga, I was a subconscious boundary crosser, that I was just doing that shit. And I wasn't even paying attention, you know what I'm saying? But see, now I'm in a place to where I literally thought about that shit like a month before I sent it. You know what I'm saying? And I guess you can either be like, well, I was like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? But I thought it was a good thing. Like, because what I sent had to do with keeping your head above all negativity. It was a symbolization of that, and then also a symbolization of transformation. Continue to grow. Don't stop growing. So I thought it was a positive message behind it, to where even if it was like my big toe stepped on the line. You know what I'm saying? The referee probably didn't see it, so they ain't gonna call it out. You know, like so. But I think we do need to come to a point of realization with our family that regardless if it's our family or not, that we need to respect them as if they not our family. You know what I'm saying? And respect them even more because they are our family.
Exactly.
To the point where we can actually have the conversations at a calming manner to get through the conversation so we can actually be able to set up that healthy boundary and know where it's at. So then at return, it can allow us to set up healthy boundaries within the world and make a positive change within the world.
I truly believe if just one or two people would take this stance like with us and like actually sit down and just have a calm conversation with their family and really choose to sit down with a mediator and work out the family issues or the family matters, I truly believe that we'll see a result in that in our communities. We'll see a result in that around us, and we've been looking for change in the world and stuff. And I think it really begins with, you know, us as individuals coming to our family and really sitting down and like having them real conversations. Like, yo, this is what it is, and I'm not saying this to blame. I'm not saying this to be angry. I can be angry. It's okay to be angry, but it's about really saying this to say, yo, I want to understand.
And work through.
I want to work through. And we need to use our words, if anything. And if there are no words to be said, then there must be words to be written. And if it's no words to be written, then
It's
just
tears.
sit.
It's tears.
It's tears.
It's tears.
You know what I'm saying?
Let
It's
it
just
out.
I was
Let
just
it
gonna
out.
say just sit and cry.
It's tears.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But at some point it's gonna work through that progression, you know. And that's what it's really about. And that's a boundary that I believe is healthy to cross if that's a boundary that has been set up in your family, you know. Cross that boundary of really like, you know, let's have a real mature conversation and make sure that you're in the right place and make sure that you have the right intentions and that you have the right heart and that you are. The only way that anybody can be prepared for that conversation is when they are in a place where they know that it is unconditional. Like, I'ma love you no matter what you say to me. You could tell me to go to hell right now. I'ma still love you. You know, and that's the place that you have to be in to have the maturity to have that conversation without letting your emotions control the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Because it's okay the way you feel, but it shouldn't control the conversation.
I mean, we appreciate y'all definitely rocking with us again. You know, just kind of, I guess, summarize it. Let's have these conversations about family matters because family matters. So.